Hey guys, so like I told you, I'm going to be throwing out a little bit of some videos here and there just before we do the big launch onto the podcast platforms. So for now, you're going to be able to find it on my Backwards Forward podcast Facebook page, or you can find me over at Backwards Forward Podcast on Instagram, either one. Whatever you choose, prefer. But so this is cool. Like, I got a buddy that reached out and threw out a request, threw out a question like, hey, I'd love to hear you talk about this. And so I'm like, well, fuck yeah. I mean, I want to talk to at least the one person that's interested in hearing me talk about a subject of something that I've been through, that they're thinking about, that they haven't been through yet. And what that is he asked me. So this is Eddie Gonzalez. Thanks, bro, for reaching out and asking the question and something you'd like to hear me talk about. Moving away from home. Okay, so a lot of my friends, we have been lifers in Southern California, and it's a pretty fucking awesome place to live, to grow up. I really don't have anything, bad to say other than what the normal people have to say about the place. The politics, the expensive element of lifestyle, whatever. But so he's like, dude, and he's talked to me about this before, where he was thinking of is thinking of moving somewhere just to better his life, and is asking me about it, and he's got his questions, and it's a lot to consider. It's a lot to think about. It's not a small decision. You're uprooting everything you've ever known, ever lit, all the buildings, all the streets, everything. And again, I always told my wife I would never leave Alpine. Like, I thought it was the greatest place on the planet, which it's a very, very awesome place on this planet. And I'm going to walk you through like kind of how our decision-making process was. It was quick. It was not this big calculated thing. It was not this, it was not a reaction to politics. It was not a reaction to anything extremely specific. It wasn't the typical, I gotta fucking get out of this place, this state sucks. Like, there's elements about that state that sucks, but walking around in flip-flops in January is not something I did, but is something that's why people love it. That's why people live there and don't want to move. And that's why there's been so many people from around the country and or the world that have moved to America's finest city. So going back, ever since I've known my wife, she's been like, one day we're going to live in Colorado. And my response was very, very simple to her. It was like, no, we are not. You might live there and I hope you enjoy it. But for me, I'm never going to leave Alpine. I'm never going to leave Southern California. It's America's finest city, and make mine Alpine, right? Yeah. One of the greatest, it's fucking awesome childhood I had there. It was absolutely great. So going back to 2014, I was coming off of a broken leg, and we decided, hey, let's go. My wife's family has a cabin out here in Colorado, not far from where we moved to. And so we said, hey, let's go vacation with the boys. I was testing out the repaired broken leg, and I had time to give. I was not working at the time, and Bailey had an opportunity to be able to work from even being out here So we go, hey, we're going to go to the lake, stay at the cabin. We're going to be there for like 3 weeks. And I told Bailey, all I want to do is just be up at the cabin, enjoy it, soak it all in, pretend I live here for 3 weeks. And that's what we're going to do. Not a bunch of big sightseeing, not a bunch of big go here, go there, like move, and shake, which some people absolutely love staying busy. I love just fucking relaxing and chilling out and fishing and shit like that. So that's what we did. Came out, stayed for 3 weeks, loved it, had a great time. The boys were 5 and 4 and 5, somewhere around there. 3 and 5, somewhere around there. So next year, came back, spent another 3 weeks. Then years go by, we didn't come in. That was 2014 we came out, 2015 we came out, 2016 we went to our family place in Wyoming, 2017 we came back out, 2018 we came back, we went to the family place in Wyoming, and then in 2019 it was creeping up on us, and we don't have much family here. All really Bailey has is one cousin that lives here, and she was getting married. Her wedding was going to be out here. We were saving up for a house in San Diego, Alpine, to be most specific, and we weren't going to be coming out because we're saving up, getting ready for everything. And as the wedding got closer, Bailey was like, I think I'm going to just fly out for like the weekend and be with the family and do everything. So we were like, all right, okay, do it. That's a good idea. Things kept getting closer and closer. And it was like, we're going to come out as a family. The whole family is going to be out here for it. Bailey's family, to be specific. And so we'll get into the trip because that's a whole nother part of the story. But so we decided we're going to come on out. Okay. Now, the other things that had led up, so we'll just get back to, we're sitting here. I drug our 32-foot travel trailer out here. We stayed at a campground for 2 weeks. And while we're sitting in the trailer, just enjoying being out here and everything, Bailey looks at me and goes, so she does this every fucking time we're out here. And the answer is always the same. I'm never leaving. Bailey goes, so do you want to move here? And she thought she knew my answer was fuck no. But I said, yeah, let's do it. She's like, really? Yeah, let's do it. Fuck it. Why not? We looked at the boys, asked the boys, hey, would you boys want to move out here? Could you live here? Do you like it? And they both were like, yeah. So we had a 3rd grader and a 4th grader at the time when we are making this decision. Now, to back up, what kind of led into it is that Bailey and I had been really helping out family members over the course of the previous 10 years. And it played hell with our finances. And then there were some things that transpired. And along that way, my mom and dad were getting ready to sell their place, and they were going to be leaving Alpine. They were getting set to move to another state, to Missouri, right? Bailey and I hemmed and hawed, and we talked about it before leading up to it, and it was like, no, I mean, we thought about it. We really thought about it. My dad and my sister took a trip out to Missouri, and I was invited to go along. And at that time, we're just Like, this is where the process started of where would we want to move, because all the years leading up to this, we'd kind of joked about it of like, where would you want to live? Where would you want to move? When you're from San Diego and you live in the desert next to the ocean, you're always imagining things being green where you're going to move to. You're imagining ponds, lakes, rivers, streams, trees, forests, shit like that, right? Unless you're picturing islands or whatever, but that was never our style. And we were looking all around the country just for shits and giggles. And as we were looking, that's where the criteria of where we would move started beginning. And we didn't even know it, really. And so we're like, I love the thought of like West Virginia and Kentucky and some of these places. And it just ultimately boiled down to her and I going, we don't want to live that far away from San Diego, not because we're so attached to it, but still had family there. If we want to come back, what is it going to take to get back to be with family? And the motherfucker of being across the country was that shit, you're talking 32 hours, 24 hours away. And that just didn't fit like what was really ever going to work for us. So even though we were doing it for shits and giggles, we were also kind of taking this a little bit serious in the form of eliminating some of the places that we would go. And the fact of the matter is, where we ended up moving in southern Colorado, like, it's 13 hours, depending on who's driving, to get back to San Diego for family functions and family things. And we did not want to be 24 hours away. So it kind of eliminated a bunch of stuff, even though we weren't even considering it. So going back to it, my mom and dad were leaving. My sister was going to be leaving. My brother already lives in a different state. And as far as what was or what wasn't keeping Bailey here, that's another discussion. But going into that summer, 2019, late July, early August, we came out, and we ended up being here for another 3 weeks again. And she posed the question, and I gave her an answer that she was not expecting. And then the boys were like, yeah, we'd do it, which we were like, holy shit. Because if they're not on board, we didn't want to pull them from everything they had ever known, right? Like, my kids went to Alpine Country Day School since they were 2 years old, or 1 year. Ryan was there at 1 year old, all the way through all the Alpine school systems and everything like that. I'm like, here Tyler is 10 years old, and he's got kids that he's known for 8 years already, little buddies and everything like that. So he was on board. Ryan was on board. Fuck it. Let's rock and roll. We're going to do it. We drove back to San Diego, got all of our shit in order, got ourselves pre-approved, looked at all sorts of houses in the area. We had a big old stack, made our realtor's job really easy. She was a fucking turd. We won't get into that one or call names or name drop just for the sake of not being a dick about it. But, man, we looked around. We finally found one so we flew back out in late September, found something we fell in love with, put in an offer. We got accepted. We closed on Halloween of 2019, and on November 2nd of 2019, we pulled into the driveway of our new home in southwestern Colorado. That's how that one went. But, there is so much more to it. Like, when you leave, what are you leaving behind? Right? That's something. What are you moving away from? But for us, it was always about what we are moving towards. We did not move. That's always awesome. We did not move for the sake of moving away from politics. We did not move towards politics. We did not move just because a house was cheaper. Part of it is that, yeah, while we were looking and wanting to stay within the same zip code that we lived in, where the house pricing and everything was and what we were going to get and what it was going to just do to our whole life at this juncture in our life, it just didn't fit. And there were so many times where we were ready to make some moves and do some stuff in Alpine, and the timing was fucking terrible. We found our home here. Good property on the edge of National Forest, good house, good size. That was really kind of the bonus, right? Like, we wouldn't have moved here if we were going to kind of move into the same situation that we weren't able to find in San Diego. So things worked out amazingly. It's amazing how things do work out when you're doing stuff for all the right reasons. But again, so everything as it comes together, like, when you want to move and you're going to uproot your whole existence, your everything you've ever known, everything you've ever been, your high schools, your high school friends, your family, you are leaving that stuff behind. But one of the things, like, for me that made it easy for me was, look, I love my friends. I love my family. My friends don't pay my mortgage payment. They're my friends. That's it. That's all we are. I mean, that's a great thing. Friends are like family. It is painful to say goodbye to them on a level of, like, we're not gonna have the ease of being able to see each other with a 5-minute drive anymore. We're not going to see each other as frequently as we would like, or as frequently as we did before. But at the same time, like, they're living their life for what works for them. And we need to live our life for what works for us. We need to have the gains in our life for us, not any element of suffering for the sake of being in close proximity to other people. So it was a little heavy, but at the same time, like, the way that the timing and the way that things were shifting and how it was playing out, it was the right fit for us. And not everywhere. Now, here's the thing. Not everywhere is going to be for everybody. And like Southwestern, where we live in Colorado, we get a lot of snow. We have all 4 seasons. There's a good portion of the year that is far more cold than living in San Diego. And it's not for everybody. Like, so I don't tell everybody, hey, you should really move here because it's perfect. No, I love it. That's how it works for me. That's how it works for us. The fact that we have snowboarding, snow sports all around us, during that time of the year. Summertime, snowboards, snow stuff goes away, the lake stuff, the bikes, the motorcycles, the side-by-sides, all that stuff comes out, gets ready to rock and roll. It just fits our lifestyle and what we want out of life. So the important thing to consider is, if you're moving somewhere, like, what are you moving towards? Forget about what you're moving away from, okay? You can think about, you already know that. That's already something you've already got completely and totally calculated in your whole fucking decision-making process. And usually it's the anchor that pulls you back of family, friends. Then there's the familiarity, but family and friends is usually first and foremost of the one thing that you go, man, that is a sacrifice you are going to have to make. But what do you get out of where you live now? Okay. For me, I don't give a fuck about the beach. Like, I don't go down to the beach. I don't go surfing. I don't go do anything down there. I don't go board walking. So moving away from the ocean is really not that big of a deal for me. I enjoy the mountains. I enjoy the mountain lifestyle. I enjoy living. I enjoy smaller town living. I don't need amenities. I don't need all the restaurants. I don't need all the stores. I don't need all the, that's just not, that doesn't do anything for me. So if you're moving somewhere, do you need that shit? If you do, where I moved to is not going to work for you. But then again, where do you want to move and why? Is it mountains? Is it desert? Is it hunting? Is it snow? Is it small town life? Do you want big city life? Like, all of us have this certain criteria that we need fulfilled by our wants of what's going to make us comfortable in life. Now, look, we still get mail here. Amazon still delivers here. The malls are just a shit show anywhere in this fucking country. I mean, it's basically like a, oh gosh, I shouldn't just talk shit, but it's like a, never mind. You know, there's the pedo fucking pickup fucking food court shit. Like, I don't fucking need places like that in my life. I don't need to be surrounded by schemers, scammers. Just, that's not what does it for me. I live in a place where that stuff is not really very existent in our world. I mean, opportunists are everywhere. You will have them. But look, let's say 1% of your population is a shitbag opportunist. If you live in a place of 3 million people, 1%, what's that? Fucking 30,000 people are fucking shitbags. If you live in a place like me where I live with 3,000 people and 1% of them are shitbags, that's what, 30 people? So, that's just kind of how that fucking works out. You're gonna have pieces of shit no matter where you live, and there's always going to be a percentage of them and everything like that. But it's a comfortable, good life for me here. I love it. I can take my side-by-side out my driveway, up a forestry road. There's, 100 plus miles of roads and trails and things behind my house. My backyard is the national forest. I have deer in my front yard and backyard. I have elk in the backyard. We get turkeys in the yard. Yes, there are mountain lions around. Yes, we see bears cruising by. I I have 5 acres fenced off with 2 Rottweilers running around and a loud ass coon hound, and then our little corgi. And, shit doesn't really come and fuck with us on the property, but it's all around. But I'd rather live like that. You know what I don't have? I don't have anybody stealing fucking packages off of my front porch. I don't have a Ring camera. You know why? Because I don't have a doorbell. You know why? Because even if I did, nobody rings it. So that's what I want out of life. That's what I like out of life. Do I miss my family? Yes. Did I see my family every single day while I lived there? As far as extended family? No, absolutely not. Did I see them frequently? Not that often. Here and there. I love them. I do miss them. I look forward to seeing them when I have the opportunities. But my life, their life didn't revolve around me. My life didn't revolve around them. All we did is put a few miles in between us. So for all the people that are thinking about moving away from where you've grown up, everything you've ever known, your friends, your family, your friends are going to visit, or you can visit them. Your family is going to visit, or you can visit them. And if they don't, life really just goes on. Now, work. Okay, for me, construction-wise, pretty savvy in, a lot of areas of construction. I can find work anywhere in the country when it comes to that. And as far as my wife, she works from home. So pretty easy transition for us. Now, I understand the dilemma for some of my friends. Like, some of my friends would love to fucking move out here. But they have careers in other places. They have pensions. They have things that go on. I get it. And that's where that one doesn't work out for them. Some of it is sports related. So Southwestern Colorado, not a baseball hotbed. If your kid is really into baseball and you think he's going to go further with it, that their baseball seasons are short around here. Indoor sports, basketball, wrestling, like sports are still big, but just different than what we know in Southern Colorado or in Southern California. So you have to weigh those options if you're moving. Are you already through that phase of life with your kids? If you are, then at least you don't have that one. But the challenges, like, yes, you do not have the support system like you would normally have if you just stayed right where you're at. I think that goes without saying. I think that's one of the hangups and holdups that keeps people from not making that jump. Fear, I don't know what people would really be afraid of moving away. It's the United States of America. Okay. If you're moving to Chicago, if you're moving to Chicago, you're moving to Detroit, and you're from San Diego, I can understand where you would have your fears. Not liking the humidity, not liking the cold, look, you got to look at shit and you got to have an idea of what the fucking weather is like. Okay. And you could spend a year in a place and this year is one way and next year is another way. So you can't just stay somewhere for a year if you think you're going to get the full picture. Sometimes these things go in 10-year swings. Who knows? But you can get an average of what the shit is like. If you're afraid of the cold, you can always live in Miami. If you don't like the humidity, there aren't many other places other than Phoenix or Flagstaff or, Colorado's a really fucking dry state, but the majority of the rest of the country has some significant elements of humidity throughout the course of a year. So I mean, what can you live? But okay, but if you know a place is humid and you're just going like, hey, fucking buckle up. Like, we know it's going to be humid here, and that's part of it. You're just going to sweat. You're going to sweat like a motherfucker. Bugs are fucked. I'm not a big, huge fan of the bug factor. And guess what? The majority of the country has bugs. So, one of the things is that, yes, I'm speaking to, the funny part is anybody that's moved away can relate to what I'm saying. And if anybody else, most everybody that I know is pretty much home based in San Diego at this point, and you live in a really, really great place. So again, why do you want to move? The whole key to you enjoying where you move is understanding why you're moving there and what to expect when you get there. Like, a home is a home. As long as that's where your heart is, a home is a home. So, cheaper home, more expensive home, taxes, like the government's going to fucking get you. House prices across the country are pretty crazy. Not to insult all my real estate buddies or friends or people out there, but real estate investors because of understanding the value of a home and how it's going to appreciate over time. And it's one of the greatest guarantees you could ever lay your money down on, unless you just have horrible timing. I mean, real estate investment has fucked the housing market for a lot of people everywhere. It's elevated the housing market. It's made it not extremely, it's made it expensive. It's not made it affordable. But look, are you moving somewhere for the price of a home? There's areas, and I don't know. I don't get the whole moving somewhere because homes are affordable. I do get it, but at the same time, like, if you are going to uproot your family, if you are going to move somewhere that you've never been, you've never known, like, why? What does it do for you? Like I said, we have 4-by-in, we have snowboarding, we have lakes, rivers, fishing, hunting, like all of that shit. And that's part of what I love about being here is this is a incredibly active state. People are always out having fun one way or another. They're enjoying the seasons. When fall comes around, going out, taking fall pictures. Day after Thanksgiving, I drive up the road I live on. We buy a permit, of course, but I go down and I go cut my own Christmas tree down right up the road from us. And we are doing the forest a favor. It is, they prefer that we do it, and we cut down a certain type of tree that grows rapidly and is high in oil content, is very much a contributor to once fires get rolling. So we kind of have free range on cutting them down for our Christmas tree. We're not deforesting anything. But I mean, it's just wild. Like, so again, it all goes back to, what are you moving towards? That is your answer. Like, you cannot look back and you already know all the things you're moving away from. You have to identify the things that you are moving forward to and what you are going to get out of life, and how where you're moving is going to be an improvement for your life. That is the key to fucking happiness, to no matter where it is and what you're doing and where you move, is know what you're moving towards. You gotta fucking want it. If you don't want to shovel snow, Colorado's not the place for you. If you love getting geared up and putting your fucking cold weather fireman outfit on and going out and moving snow and having a tractor and plowing it or whatever, snowboarding, it's a fucking great place. So if you love going out, chopping your own firewood, having a fireplace in here and actually using it, not a propane one that's decorative, but one that actually keeps your house warm, this is a great place for you. If you don't want to deal with that shit, not a great place for you. If you want to have internet everywhere you go and everywhere you drive, this is not a great place for you. If you're okay with dead spots and being out of reach, and you could do this place. So that's my words of advice towards anybody and everybody that's ever thinking of what they're moving away from. Like I said, escaping was never a focus. And we got lucky. Our timing was so lucky. We moved here just before the COVID shit happened and the world went fucking batshit crazy. You don't realize what a claustrophobic lifestyle you're living until all of the amenities of your area are taken away from you. We were very fortunate. Our backyard is 2 million acres of national forest. So when they said quarantine, that was just after they closed schools down here too, pulled the kids out of schools, and we had all this room and everything to hang out and hike behind our yard. We weren't told we can't go to restaurants, beaches, parks, etc. And life is just more simple. So for all my friends that grew up, that's a cool part about our age is we grew up at a time before the electronics, the cell phones, all that shit. And we remember what it was like being kids, being out, being dirty, the whole fucking come home, when the street lights come on kind of stuff. That is the luxury to me of living here. Not the luxury of amenities, not status, not what people think you are by when they look at you, not, what your kids fucking wear, how done up you are in the pickup line, what you do for work, how fucking in debt you are. Nobody gives a fuck about you out here. Other than if you are broke down on the side of the road, people are going to help. That's how they give a fuck about you. But other than this, all the other shit of, where I grew up and where I live, people don't care about that shit out here. So if those things mean something to you back there, you're in the right place. If you want to turn back the clock and get a little bit closer to like what it was when you were growing up and get a normal life where people look at each other, they wave while they're driving by, they say hi, you see them at the grocery store, these people, your banker, just like that's what is a good life to me. And that's really all I can shed my light on is what works for me. But I hope it brings some qualifying elements to why anybody would ever consider leaving and what they're going to face. Ultimately, you're not going to be in a place where you've always known. You're not going to have all your friends and family nearby. Those are the losses. The gains are really up to you and where you decide to move to, right? But hopefully whatever you're moving towards makes your life a better life, makes you a happier person, makes you a better citizen, makes you a better community member, a better husband, and just brings you greater peace in life. Living somewhere uptight, wound tight, on the protective side, always suspicious. If that's the life you're living now, if it's not something that brings you enjoyment, I hope you find the peace that you're looking for, because it is out there. That it's not just here. The country, this entire country is amazing and has everything to offer you. But remember, with all your gains, there are going to be some things that you forfeit. So you gotta put the shit on the scales and weigh it out, and make sure you do whatever the hell you can to make sure that you're tipping the scales in the direction that make you a happier person. Thanks for tuning in. I fucking love you guys. Any other further questions, feel free to message me and shoot me out there. See what I think, what I want to talk about. If you want me to elaborate on this subject, I mean, I'd be happy to. Hopefully I bored you guys for long enough. You know, this sweatshirt I'm wearing right now, typically I'm wearing something a little bit different, but this is a sweatshirt representing the Liberty Risk podcast. These guys are fucking hilarious. Look them up. But the reason I bring it up, and this is perfect for this subject matter, is, there we go, memento mori. Okay. Now, the definition of that is, it means it's a reflection of mortality. And to me, there's some interpretation there. And what I look at it as is that kind of along the element of, you have one life to live. Okay. Enjoy life. You know, we are going to get older. Death is inevitable. That sounds a little bit grim, but the focus isn't on the end element. The focus is on living life to your fullest, with the constant reminder that we have one life to live. Don't wait for it. Don't wait for life to give you what you want. Go and get what you want. Just like I'm sitting here and doing this fucking podcast, whether I get 10 viewers or 1,000 or however many, I'm doing it because I enjoy it, something I want to do. I'm living my life the way I see fit. And yeah, so shout out to the fucking dudes at Liberty Risk Podcast. They're hilarious. If you don't want to sit down and listen to a couple Navy SEAL dudes and an Army Ranger with outstanding, hilarious guests, just tell fucking jokes the whole time. This isn't the whole grim, dark element. It is, it's very lighthearted. They do get into some stuff. It's very fulfilling, good stories, but they're hilarious. Check them out. I enjoy the hell out of it. And, thank you again. We'll see you guys soon. Take care. Love you. Bye.